So far, we've looked at the synchronic, nostalgic, and direct preparations. And if you remember, in these, when we select individual keys, they all take on the values that we indicate above here for all three types of preparations. And if we want to have multiple types of direct preparations, for instance, then we use layers in order to do that. The right side here, these preparations, the tuning, the tempo, and the preset preparations function a little differently. Now, these preparations to the left, they impact individual keys, individual notes. These here, the preset, tempo, and tuning preparations, actually change the behavior of the entire instrument. So for the preset keymap preparations, basically you are able to set particular keys so that they change the actual preparation. So let me demonstrate here. We'll set, for instance, middle C here. Well, that's not middle C. Middle C here. Middle C is indicated by this little arrow here in case you get lost. So middle C we'll set to open synchronic 1 in our bitKlavier examples. So now if I play middle C, we're actually going to switch to synchronic 1. Okay, so now we're in synchronic 1, and you'll notice that that C is no longer highlighted. Well, that's because it's not part of the synchronic 1 preparations. If I go back to blank, it's still not highlighted because I actually didn't save that as part of this. So let me set it again, and just for purposes for showing it, I'll now actually overwrite blank so that when I press C, it should switch to synchronic. And now it behaves as we expect. But let's go back to blank. We will see that this key is still highlighted. But it's funny, it actually shows me blank. Well, why is that? Well, we actually have to now click on this key in order to see how it's prepared, because other keys might trigger other presets. So let me click on this. You notice that it changes synchronic 1 because that's how it was set. Well, I've actually also cleared it. So clicking on it is a way of clearing it. But I can click on it again to set it so that it goes to synchronic 1. So now it should behave as it did before. Great. Let's go back to blank. There it is again. I can click on it to show me what's there. Let me actually set a different, let me set the G above it to go to, for instance, nostalgic 1. So now this C still goes to synchronic 1. This G goes to nostalgic 1. So this is what I mean, that how these behave differently than these preparations. Each key has an individual behavior that changes the behavior of the whole instrument. Whereas in this case, each key has one behavior. All the keys will have one behavior that change just the response of that particular key. So here, let me actually save this preset now. So I've got blank written so that my G changes to nostalgic 1 and my C changes to synchronic 1. And let me do something else here. Let me have synchronic 1 point back at blank. I'm going to overwrite that. So now when I press C, it goes back to blank. Oh, but if I press, now that I'm at blank, I press C, it goes to synchronic. So this is a way of switching between the two. Well, let me do the same thing with nostalgic. So I'm at the nostalgic preset. Let me set the G so it goes back to blank. Let me save that. I'll overwrite it. So now G switches between blank and nostalgic, and C changes between blank and synchronic. Now, let me do a little bit more with this. Let me have, in synchronic, let me have the G also open nostalgic 1. So I'm building a whole web of preset changes now. So now, G brings me to nostalgic, and then now G, because I'm in nostalgic, G will bring me back to blank. C will bring me to synchronic, but now here, whoopsie, and if I press G, it'll go to nostalgic. And now let's do the same thing. Let's have, in nostalgic, have C go to synchronic 1. So now I've got this whole web of preset changes. So this is very powerful in terms of having the instrument be dynamic, change as you play. It can get a little bit confusing at times, especially if you're working on a piece and you end up having a whole set of presets and you say, oh, actually, I want to remove one or delete one. That's not actually going to carry over to this key map, and you're going to have to go in and edit your key maps in order to have them behave as you expect. So I think this is actually a good point to show you what these preset banks look like when you save them, because you can edit these directly. I'm going to open this up in a simple text editor, and you can see when I save a bank of presets, it's just a bunch of text, and it shows, this is the example preset we saved a few sessions ago, which we called a direct experiment, and it's got all of the settings saved, including, you'll notice, all of the different layers. This is layer 1, 2, 3, and so on for the synchronic preparations for this preset, as well as direct and nostalgic, and then some more general preparations and so on, including the preset map, which is where particular keys cause the presets to change. And so you can actually go in and edit this preset map directly in text if you like. Now let's actually look at a preset in the bitKlavier examples, preset file in the bitKlavier examples that has that behavior so we can see what it might look like. So this is the bitKlavier examples file. Let's actually look at, I can't remember what it's called, okay, preset keymap 1. Let's find what that looks like. And here we can see there's a key map where middle C takes us. Where does it take us? It takes us to preset keymap 2. So let's open preset, find preset keymap 1. Here it is. It's preset number 28. And in that, we can see that middle C, which is MIDI note 60, opens preset keymap number 2, which is preset number 29, so the next one in this list. Let's go on and find it. There's preset 29, preset keymap 2, which we can find here as well. This one you can see the C above opens preset keymap 3. Well, let's find that here. Sure enough, the preset keymap, the note above, the octave above middle C, which is 12 notes above 60, so 72, would open preset keymap 3 or preset number 30, and I'll leave it as an exercise for you to go and look through this preset file to see what that looks like in here. So I'm going to close this. We'll come back here. And one other final point, in demonstrating this, I actually overwrote some of these presets here, which I normally wouldn't want to do since these are bitKlavier examples that I would like to keep as they are. But remember, I've only saved these locally in the app as it is right now. I haven't actually written these to disk yet, which I would need to do here by writing, as we've seen before. I can also immediately revert to the defaults by simply opening them up here. So that loads them from disk again. And now I'm back to the original presets. So it's handy to be able to play with presets without worrying about them actually being saved permanently.